and welcome to the Woldenburn YouTube channel. My name is Emily and I am here today to film a regular podcast, and it has been months and months since I have filmed one of those. I was honestly kind of going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to film another podcast or if I should just do some vlogs, but I decided to go ahead and do a podcast. It is Monday, March 16th. We're about halfway, just over halfway through the month of March. It has been a month already. I'll talk about it a little bit more at the end and a little bit of a life update, but suffice it to say, it has been exhausting. In the description box down below, I have links to all the patterns all the patterns that I talk about in today's video. I'm a little out of practice, if you can't tell. There are also some links to my Ravelry, to my blog. I think there's still a link to my Instagram, but I keep forgetting to mention it on here. I am no longer active on Instagram. I decided to delete the app off of my phone in September of last year, and I have not logged back in since. So I don't know if I will or not. I just felt like I was getting a little bit too, I don't know, there was a lot of stressful things that are going on, and I just didn't, I was opening the app too much and paying too much attention to it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to delete it off. And I just haven't really felt the need to get back on there. So if you need to get in touch with me, you can send me a Ravelry message. I'm on Telegram, and so if you're in some of the groups that I'm in and you want to get in touch, feel free to send a message there. Or I have my email linked down below as well. So if you need to get in touch with me for whatever reason, those are the options. I've been trying to remember to be better about mentioning that at the beginning, because I hear other people talk about it and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to remember that. Because in case if you have sent me a message on Instagram over the last 6 months and I have not responded, it's not because I'm ignoring you, it's because I am just not on Instagram anymore. So, alright. I technically have a number of different finished objects, including what I am wearing, but I am not going to be talking about all of them. I'm going to be trying to keep this video around the 30-minute mark, just so that I can still, hopefully, Lord willing, have a little bit of free time to do some knitting during nap time. We shall see if that happens or not, but what I'm wearing the Dreaming of Spring pullover, which is a pattern by Jessica McDonald. It came out right at the end of February. I was a test knitter for it. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful pattern. It has this lovely floral color work. I've got some pictures. I'll pop them up somewhere. And I really, really like it. There are a couple things that I would change about it if I were to either go back in time and redo things or to knit a second one, which I'm seriously considering. The only thing holding me back is that I really don't have much DK weight yarn, which that is what this pattern calls for, is a DK weight yarn. I used, the main color is my hand-dyed yarn, which is just a lovely, variegated, kind of speckly, yeah, it's got like all kinds of different colors, but from a distance it kind of gives like a grayish blue look. And then the contrast color is like Variations DK, and I think it's the African Strawberry Quartz colorway, something like that. I'll try and link my project page down below as well, because I'm pretty sure I found the correct name for the yarn and stuff. So there's that. I knit, I believe, the 4th or 5th size, maybe the 6th size. I picked the one that ended up with a 46-inch bust circumference, finished bust circumference. And I picked that when I signed up for the test knit. If I were to reknit it, I would go down at least 1 size, if not 2 sizes. When I chose to test knit it, or tried to sign up for it, it was right before I lost some weight. And over the last few months, I've been kind of slowly losing a little bit of weight, which is amazing. But it does mean that it is a bit more oversized than I would have preferred. It is technically still, I think, within the range of the ease measurement, but I like my sweaters to usually fit with maybe 1 to 2 inches of positive ease, maybe. if anything, I like 0 to maybe a little bit of negative positivities. So it is a little bit bigger, sweatshirtier than most of my other sweaters, but I have been enjoying it. I have been really liking to wear it, so I don't know. I have been torn. I have been really contemplating taking it and removing some length on it. You will have seen in the pictures, but I'll also show you here. It comes down just a little bit further than I usually like my sweaters to, and you can kind of see in the back, it wants to flip up like this. Like it's too long in the back. I have what is called, you can see it really well here, it is a sway back. That is a common term used in the sewing world. When I'm making my own dresses, typically need to make a sway back adjustment. And all that means is that my bum sticks out. And so I have my back that comes down here and then my bum sticks out. And if you don't make a sway back adjustment, which basically is just taking a smidge of fabric out of the back, and if you don't do that, you can get this weird pooling in the back of fabric. And so that's definitely happening with this sweater because it's longer than my sweaters usually are. I just kind of was in the zone and was just like knitting away. And I kept measuring and I was like, oh, maybe a little bit longer, because I've really struggled with a lot of my sweaters recently being too short. And I think most of the sweaters that I knit, not last year, but the year before, I knit while I was pregnant. And so a lot of them ended up being too short because I was having a hard time figuring out what the right measurement was. And so I overcompensated with this one. However, it's very comfy, it's very cozy, I don't think it looks bad, and to be honest, I really, really don't want to pull it out. So my plan is, well, because I have that, and then I need to shorten the sleeves. I do know that I need to do that. You might think, Emily, those look perfectly fine in like normal length sleeves. You are correct. However, as a busy stay-at-home mom, I tend to like my sleeves right about that length. Like that's about like my perfect length. Otherwise, I always feel like I'm having to like ooch them down and get them out of the way because, you know, you're washing your hands, wiping stuff up. Like I use my hands all the time. If I fold the cuffs back like this, that's perfect. That's the length that I would like it to be. So I'm kind of torn. Either I could just fold the cuffs back and then kind of put a couple stitches in there to hold them there. That would be one option. I can leave it full length or leave the sleeves as they are and just try and remember to fold the cuffs down when I'm wearing it. But then if I'm going like out and about and doing stuff and I need to be a little bit cozier, I can flip them back down or go back in, pick up stitches and just shorten them. Those are the two like main adjustments that I have considered making. What I am doing right now is I have decided that for this season, for the spring, these last few days in spring that I will likely be able to wear a full DK weight sweater, I'm just gonna wear it. And I'm gonna wear it and wait and see. Because like I said, like when I first put it on, I was like, ooh, this doesn't fit quite how I typically have my sweaters fit. But I don't dislike it. The question was, am I just neutral or do I actually quite like having a bigger, oversized, cozier sweater? And I've talked about this many times before. I do hope to get pregnant again at some point, and so having a slightly bigger sweater in that case is not going to be a bad thing. So that's kind of my thought process. I'm going to leave it as is and just wear it, and it's so comfy and cozy and beautiful. The one thing I do need to do, I need to put a little bit of elastic in the neckline, because as you can see, it's really pulling down, which I don't mind because it's not pushing on here, but I think that it would look a little bit better if it was like that. And so I just need to put a little bit of light elastic in the neckline. Other than that, I love it, and like I said, as crazy as it might seem, and oops, I'm very seriously considering knitting a second one because I love this floral color work chart so much, and I would love to knit one in a smaller size. But yeah. That is the Dreaming of Spring pullover. I highly recommend you check out the pattern, and I have seen, oh, I was so tempted. I was so tempted to sign up for it, but there's a test knit that Jessica McDonald put out for like a tee that has this beautiful lace detail at the bottom, and it's knit top down. So many of the tee or sweater patterns that I see that have like that lace detail at the bottom, they always are bottom up, and I don't understand it, and I just do not like that construction. This one's going to be top down, and I'm very excited about it. Like I said, if I had not made a commitment that I was not going to sign up for any test knits during the Lent period, I don't typically do anything with Lent, but okay, I'm back. It is now March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I was interrupted yesterday by the baby waking up, or he's not really a baby anymore. I keep calling him that, but it's just because he's the youngest. My 1.5-year-old waking up from his nap with a coughing fit, and that's kind of the way that my days have been. I think I had 15 minutes of child-free time yesterday during the day, hence the lack of videos. And there's been a lot less knitting in general going on anyway, so. But it kind of worked out because I wasn't planning to show you this finished object because it was back in the room where the baby was napping, but then it's another day and I decided to wear it today. So this is my finished mashup of a pattern. I use the Ranunculus pattern by Midori Hirose and the Owls sweater pattern by Kate Davies to make this sweater, and I absolutely love it. It might be one of my top favorite sweaters I've ever made. It just turned out exactly the way that I was hoping it to, if not a little bit better. I basically used the chart from the Owls sweater. That's the only portion of the Owls pattern that I used. The chart to put the owl cables into, I just plugged it into the Ranunculus sweater. I talked about this a little bit before in my, this is one of my 12 cast-ons. This was my cast-on number 3, I think. And I talked about this a decent amount in that video. I am planning to put some of my notes into a project page on Ravelry for other people. Haven't done that just yet, but yeah, I definitely did not keep as good of notes on the rest of it as I did for the beginning portion, because I did end up putting some waist shaping and some bust shaping into it. So let me just show you quickly the owls. I need to get some finished object pictures of this. But yeah, so here's my little owls. I do still want to put some little buttons on for eyes, but I'm expecting that will not happen this season. It might happen next season if it ever does. I don't know. So far I've just been absolutely loving wearing it. This is knitted out of the I think it's Windy Aran with wool. It was a yarn that I bought 2 or 3 years ago from Joann's online. It wasn't an in-store yarn. And they come in these like giant 400-gram balls. And they have like 890, I think-ish yards in them. And this was the tweed version. I think this was in like the river colorway or something like that. Absolutely love it. It is so nice. It's mostly acrylic. I think it's like, what was it, like 77% acrylic, 20% wool, and 3% viscose, which I'm assuming is the little tweed flex in it. But yeah, like I said, I used the Ranunculus pattern. I think I cast on 70 stitches. I worked up to, I believe it was row 4. And again, I have all of the notes for this. By the time this gets uploaded, I probably won't have the project page there, but if you really, really want to know, just leave a comment down below and I can try and hurry up and get my notes into a project page. But I think I worked up to about row 4 and then I did round 4. Let me back up. I did the short rows in the back, which I don't think you can really see back here, and I eliminated the short rows in the front. I didn't want to have it more of a boat neck. I wanted it a little bit more lower down on the front, which is also why I cast on more stitches than the pattern called for. I worked the first few rows of the pattern, and then I'm pretty sure it was on row... I figured out a way to fit my chart in between the increases that are in the ranunculus, because ranunculus is a round yoke. So it's like every few rounds you have an increase round. And so what I ended up doing, and you can kind of see it if I get up closer here, in between the owls, there are these purl stitches, and so I think there's an increase here, and then maybe one like right here. And so you can kind of see that it slowly gets wider. So that was really simple. The chart slipped seamlessly into the ranunculus pattern. It just all worked out really well. And then I was working on it, and I started adding, I think I added like 2 of I think I completely skipped the final increase round for the circular yoke, and then it has you do some raglan increases. I think I worked like 2 of the raglan increase rows, and then I went ahead and split for the sleeves, and I could tell that that was the perfect distance for like this, whatever this measurement is here. That was perfect, but I could tell that there was not enough room in the bust. And so then I ended up working a number of rounds of increases where I had the side seams marked, and I just worked increases on the front. And I think when I split for sleeves, I also did it where I did either 2 or 4 stitches more for the front than for the back. I think that's what I did. And then I worked it for a bit, and then I added in some decreases at that side seam. Not too many. I think it was just, oh, you can actually see them a little bit here. Yeah, there's my decreases right down there. Whoop. I added in some decreases there so that it would be less oversized. It's perfect. It fits me exactly the way that I want it to. When I first was wearing it, I was a little bit nervous because the neckline was definitely kind of it was like I could wear it, but I felt like I was constantly having to tug it down so it wasn't sitting here on my neck. Post blocking though, I intentionally tried to kind of pull it down a little bit and just kind of adjust it, but I think that it just overall helped everything relax, and it's pretty much perfect. I do still have to adjust it once or twice during the day, but it's not like all the time, and I can totally live with that. But yeah, I'm super happy with it. This is my ideal sleeve length. As I was mentioning for my Dreaming of Spring pullover, I like this length. This is absolutely perfect. The one thing is I worked the sleeves just straight. I didn't do any decreases that I remember. I thought I had planned to do some rapid decreases at the end, but it looks like I didn't even do that. Like, I was trying to look at this yesterday and figure it out, but I don't think I even did that. I do kind of wish that I had decreased it a little bit more so that it was a little snugger, but I can live with it. And because they are the right length, they don't get in the way, even if they are a little bit looser than I would prefer. So that's my second sweater finished object. And then I do have one more that I'm just quickly going to talk about here. And then I'm going to share probably just one of my works in progress right now. I've realized that I probably just need to plan for this podcast to take me like 3 days to film. And that's fine. I very, very much want to get some knitting done today. I didn't really get hardly any knitting done yesterday. And I want the break. I want to sit and knit and just relax for a little bit here in the middle of the day before the boys get back up. And yeah, I think it gets me in a better frame of mind and a little bit more rested than if I just power through. But yeah, so I'll probably share one of my works in progress and then pick back up tomorrow. But the last finished object to share with you is my Miss Marple scarf. I did end up finishing it. I actually finished it in February, like really close to the end, because I pulled it out to film my 12 cast-ons wrap-up video, which I still haven't finished editing and uploading. As I've said, February kind of ended on a intense phase, and it just has carried on through March. Yeah, I still haven't edited and uploaded that video. I'm going back and forth on whether or not I will. I may just try and do an update in a month or 2 on all of my 12 cast-ons, but anyway, I pulled this out to show it for that video, and then I was like, man, I was so close to being done. I only had like from here to here on one side to finish. It was very, very close to being done, and so I was like, you know what, I could get this done by the end of February, and I did. It is a very nice, cozy scarf, nice and thick and soft, and it folds down a bit in the back if you want to, or you can leave it flipped up a little bit more to have like a lot of cozy coverage. I really, really like it. I do want to knit some more of it. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's by like Susanna SVV or something like that. I'll have the pattern link down below. And I knitted it out of I think it's Santa's Garn the alpaca wool, which is their alpaca and wool blend. I think it's 60% alpaca and 40% wool, if I remember correctly, or vice versa. And this was a lovely gift from a knitting friend who lives in France, and I'm so happy to have it as a finished object, as something that I can wear now. I probably won't be wearing it much this season just because it's very wintry today, but we're supposed to be back up in the 80s Fahrenheit by this weekend, so I think we're kind of past most of the cowl and scarf wearing weather, but I do so love it, and I would really like to make a few as gifts. I think that would be so fun. Oh, it's just so pretty. I just really, really like it. So there we go. And I knit it basically to pattern. The only thing that I did definitely was because I had a limited amount of yarn. And so what I did is, well, let me show it to you full length. So you have these little pockets here where the loops or the ends can slide through. And then you have this portion here in the middle that you work just straight. And so what I ended up doing is I had two 50-gram balls. And so I worked until I was like almost done with the first ball. I knew I could probably squeeze out another couple of rows, but I didn't want to be playing that much of a yarn chicken. I was still playing some yarn chicken. Like when I was getting down to the end, I was like, this should work. It really should work because I accounted for this, but we're getting really close. And I don't have the little nugget of extra bit, but it was perfect. Perfect. I was so happy. But I worked like a row or two short of, I think this is where my tails were woven in, of the first ball, and then I worked basically just repeated. I did the second half with the second ball, and it worked out like a charm. Like it was so perfect. And I love it. It's such a nice brown color. I don't know if you can really see it because of the lighting, but I really would like a sweater in this color. So yeah, super, super happy with that. Super happy with all the finished objects. Let's quickly talk about one of my whips, and then I'm going to sit down and knit on said whip. Right now, I am in the process of focusing on my 3 test knits that I have right now. I've signed up for 3 test knits, and I have decided, I think I was mentioning this yesterday when I was filming, I don't remember exactly where I cut off, that I decided that for Lent, even though it's not something I officially celebrate or whatever, I decided that this year I was going to give up signing up for any more test knits during the Lent period. That might sound really silly to a lot of people, but I just find myself signing up for these test knits, and I love the patterns. I really want to knit them and make them, but the problem is that then it makes it so that I feel like I have to work on those specific projects rather than being free to work on whatever I feel like working on. And it has been really interesting. There have been a couple more test knits that I really wanted to sign up for, and I was like, no, I decided not to. Like it felt like a bit more of a commitment to not sign up for them than to just say I'm not going to sign up for test knits for a while. Since I put it as like during Lent, I'm not signing up for test knits. It just felt like it was more of a serious commitment to say no, I'm not doing that. And so I've stuck to it. I've held true to it. It has been tempting a few times, but I've held to it, and it's good because I feel like because I've paused on signing up for test knits, that it has made me stop and think about it a good bit more, and to realize, and especially because I'm like hyper focusing on the 3 test knits that I have to try and get them done. It's just made me realize that that's so much of what my knitting time has been going to over the last couple of years. And I don't work on the things I want to, and I make myself work on the test knits to get them done, which is good because then it means that I make progress on projects, and I make myself knit because I can prioritize it, because I can go, oh, I have to get this done for somebody else rather than doing it for me. But then I don't get to work on the other sweaters and garments and things that I really, really want to. And like right now I have been dying to work on some of my 12 cast on projects. I really, really want to. And there's another sweater that I really want to cast on so badly, and I'm not letting myself do any of that until I get these test knits done. And it's been good for me. It's been really good because it's made me stop and think a good bit and realize that that's why I didn't get several of the things that I wanted to done last year, was because I was doing too much test knitting. And it's a good reminder. I'm hopeful that this will kind of be a little bit of a lesson and an encouragement to sort of I don't know, phase out of doing so many test knits, maybe do 1 or 2 a year, instead of, you know, 10 to 15 a year. I do a lot of test knitting, and it's good. I think it's a fun experience. It's a good experience. It's fun to see how different designers work and whatnot, but I think that right now, with the season that I'm in, with the little kids that I have, I really need to scale back on the test knitting, because there's so many other things that I want to work on, fun things for me, patterns in my Ravelry library, and there's a nativity set that I want to get knitted. I want to make some like pretend kitchen food for my boys for Christmas or birthday. We haven't decided yet when we're going to give it to them, get them a pretend kitchen, but at some point this year I want to do that, and I want to be able to give them a little basket of like crocheted pretend food at the same time. Crocheted or knitted, probably a combination, possibly some felt ones as well. But yeah, and then there's just like different gift items and things that I just want to make sure that I actually do, because I really want to do them, and then I just prioritize other things over them. But there's a whole tangent. Let me show you this whip. This is the Jovis Duster pattern by Devin of Knitty McPurly, and I'm actually knitting a cropped version. So the duster is supposed to be, if you're not familiar with the term, it's a very, very long cardigan. You can put pockets in it. It's like mid-calf length, like it's super long. And I knew that I just wasn't going to wear it, but I really like the style of it because it's a cardigan that's designed to stay open at the front. It's not supposed to button or anything. It's supposed to lay flat to the sides. And so that's what I've been working on. I've been working away on it. It's got this fun, like, kind of a ribbed texture to the body, and then the sleeves are in stockinette, and I'm currently working on my second sleeve. I put the body on hold because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty short-waisted, and so I don't have to knit as long of body length as most patterns call for, and I'm pretty sure this was long enough, but I wanted to pause and do the sleeves first and then come back to it, because that'll kind of give me a better idea if it is long enough or not. So yeah, this is what we're working at. I'm doing the 4th size, which is for a 42-inch bust, I believe, which should be just about perfect. I do think I accidentally, I was marking out all of my sleeve decreases. I accidentally counted one that was not a decrease round, so technically on this sleeve I am 1 decrease round short. So my plan is I'm going to work the second sleeve all the way up to the same point and then try it on and see if I need to make the sleeves longer or not. Because, like I said, this is the length that I like, and so I think this is already pretty close to, if not longer than that already, and so I don't think I want to work that last decrease round. And yeah, there you go. I'm knitting this out of Wool Ease. I actually have a ball with a band on it in here. Wool Ease Recycled. This is in the, I think it's just royal blue colorway. This is a blend of 80% acrylic and 20% wool, so it's basically the same blend as this sweater. It's machine washable and dryable, which is fantastic. And yeah, I'm working away on it. It is kind of, I'm not loving it right now. I think part of that's I'm just kind of over it. I'm ready to be done with it. I didn't love the... Okay, I think the finished garment is going to be great. The construction, the knitting process, especially at the beginning, was not very enjoyable. That's nothing against the pattern. It's just, I think right now my brain space is really, really hankering for just plain and simple and easy. And the beginning part was a lot of stopping and starting, and you work first one panel, and then you do the short rows for it, and then you do the second front panel, and then you pick up, or no, you don't even pick up, because you have to seam the shoulders together. So you have to pick up and do the back, and there were so many tails. I think I counted it. And by the time I was finally ready to join under the arms for the body, because it still worked flat because it's a cardigan, but join under the arms, I think I had like 16 ends already, and I was just like, It's just, I think it's a really good construction. It's just not the simple, smooth, easy, mindless sort of construction that I've been wanting. But I think it's going to be a really great blue. I think it's going to be a really classic cardigan that I can wear. It is kind of heavy, which is surprising to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just because this one is worked at such a loose gauge, and I knit this on size 10 needles, I think. It was either size 10 or 10 and a half. Like, it was a loose gauge, and so it's quite light feeling. Like, this already feels like it weighs as much as this sweater does. Which again, it makes sense because this is a lighter yarn. I used a 3.5 millimeter or US size 4 for the body, which was a needle size down from what the pattern calls for. And then for the sleeves, you have to go to a different measurement or a different needle because you need the gauge to match. I had to go all the way down to is this a 2? Yes, a US 2 or a 2.75 millimeter to get the stockinette gauge to be right. And so it's a very tight gauge for this yarn. Like, if I'm honest, this yarn is probably not the best yarn for this pattern, but we're making it work. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. You work a heap of short rows for the shoulder cap. And that was a little bit, I don't know, to be honest, it was kind of nice to get to that after working this stitch pattern for the body. It was nice to be doing just knitting and purling, but I'm glad that I'm now in the just knitting in the round and doing decreases every few rows. Like, that's really lovely. But yeah, I don't think I really have much else to say about it at this point. I'm excited to get it done. I'm hopeful that this week I can complete this sleeve, and then all I will have from there is I will need to finish off the bottom, and then I have to pick up and do a band around the front. And then I should be done. I'll have to weave in all the ends and everything, but I'm very, very close. If I got this done, I need to have it done by the end of March anyway, and it's already March 17th. If I could get it done by this weekend, I would be ecstatic. I would be thrilled. I would be so happy. So there's that. I guess I can quickly talk about two of my other whips. One I'm not going to mention is the Rouge cardigan by Jeanette Knits. That one I haven't touched in like 2 weeks, and if you're really curious to see much about that one, I have a whole vlog series that I've been working on. And once I pick it back up, I'm going to try and finish out that vlog series. But yeah, I just have not been in the brain space for that, and I will finish it at some point. I would love to get it done by the end of March. I don't think that's going to happen, just because I am focusing so much on my test knits. But that one I'm not going to talk about because I have a vlog series. And then this one, I'm going to show you a little sneak peek of it. It is a cowl. It again has not been the most enjoyable knit, but I think I'm going to love the finished project. I can just show you a little sneak peek of it. It's teasable is what the test knit said, so I love this color palette so much. It hasn't been bad by any means. It has these half fisherman's rib or fisherman's rib sections, and I have to look at my knitting while I'm working those sections, and I did not realize how much I rely on not having to look at my knitting, because I can just feel it. I can just feel what my fingers are needing to do and stuff if I'm just doing like knitting and purling. But because you're doing knit in the stitch below or purl in the stitch below, I have to pay attention, and so that has made it a little bit harder for me to work on, because I can't hardly read, and if I'm trying to do stuff around the boys, it's a little bit harder to focus on both my knitting and the boys. So there's that. And then I realized I'm just going to go ahead and talk about my last whip, and then I will come back and film a life update section later. But yeah, so the last whip that I have is, I believe it's the Sollas Tee by Clow of the Cayucos, and Cayucos Knitting Podcast, and I'm knitting this out of Night Bright Yarn Co. in the Coral Reef colorway, and it's a Henley top tee, and I just barely joined under the arms for the body, And I'm finally working on the round now, because this is, well, the tee will have multiple options. You can do it where it's a Henley, you can do it where it's just a crew neck, and you can do it where it's a fully buttoned down, like a little lightweight cardigan. I chose to do the Henley neck, because then I can kind of leave it unbuttoned and have sort of like a V-neck look. And it has a continuous set-in sleeve construction, which is really interesting and gives such a nice detail. Yeah, I'm knitting the 3rd size with the F-cup bust shaping, which I really appreciate that Rebecca does that in a lot of her patterns now, because I definitely need full bust adjustments. And yeah, I'm hoping to work a little bit more on the body and then try it on and just make sure that this measurement, or from up here to here, works. It should, because based off of the measurements and stuff, it is going to have some negative ease over my full bust, but it should fit my high bust like perfectly. Hopefully, that is the hope. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I just this morning wound off my 2nd skein, because I realized that now that I've joined in the body, I need to alternate skeins. I didn't have to mess with that for the whole of the yoke portion, just because it was constantly increasing and changing and whatnot, and so it just kind of did its own thing, and it looks so beautiful. But I did notice that now that I've worked a few rounds in the body, you can start to see that it's thicker sections there, and I wasn't planning to alternate skeins. I was planning to just like let the yarn do what it was doing, but then after seeing how nice the yoke portion is like blended and how it looks, I'm gonna alternate skeins. So here's that. I'm holding that in my beautiful Valentine's heart bag. This was a gift from Tasha of the Desert Borealis podcast and YouTube channel, and it's been perfect for this, so really loving that. That is all my works in progress for now. I'm gonna go sit and knit, and then I will be back probably tomorrow or the next day to do a little life update section, and then we will hopefully close out this video. Alrighty. It's another day. It's now March 18th. Another outfit. I'm wearing my Louder vest by Rebecca Clow, and a recently finished dress, which I'm very pleased about. I have been getting back into sewing a little bit the last couple of weeks, which has been just delightful. I have been so happy. I actually have like 4 or 5 dresses on the go, and fabrics, sorry for the crinkle, fabrics all lined up for a few more. I'm thinking about making a patchwork dress with these 2. And then these are technically 2 different patterns, but I'm gonna make another dress. All of that. I discovered that I could work on cutting out and pinning different sewing projects on this like table thing that I have the camera on right now. It's this really beautiful wooden countertop table that my dad made for us. So it's just extra special. But last week I was able to get like 4 dresses cut out, which was amazing. It's the most sewing progress that I've had in like 3 or 4 years. So that was really good. But yeah, we are kind of into the life updates section of the video. As I have mentioned, March has just been intense. It's been a lot. The boys have both had a really bad cough for approaching 6 weeks now. And it started off for the first couple of weeks, it wasn't too bad. It was just my 3-year-old that had it, and he would just cough every now and then, but it wasn't anything too crazy. And then the 3rd week hit, and it got really, really bad. And he was coughing so hard that he was throwing up. He was waking up in the night coughing. It was just up and down. And so then he had a really tough week. And then my baby has been teething. Well, my 1-year-old has been teething, and honestly, he's been teething since like January, but he's working on getting molars and canines, and those are just some of the most intense teeth. And so he's been working on those for months, but then he's just been continuing, and I feel like he has like ups and downs of when it'll be really bad and then not so bad. And so he was teething and dealing with teething stuff, and then my 3-year-old was dealing with this terrible cough, and then the baby got the cough, which I knew was going to happen. That's just what happens in families. And so then the baby got the cough, and we had 1 week where both boys were up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down all night. And it was really tough. It was so hard. There were so many nights where I was getting maybe snatches of like an hour of sleep at a time, if that, and then I'd be up with one, and then I'd get that one settled and back up with the other one, and it was just really tough. It was a lot, and then my 3-year-old is doing much better since then. He's been doing fairly well for about 2 weeks now. He kind of had a really tough week, and then he still will be coughing in the night, but it's not enough to wake him up anymore, and he's not throwing up anymore, which is amazing, because it's just he would be coughing so hard and throw up. The baby, however, has had 2 or 3 weeks of fairly intense coughing, and he can't even get a full nap in without waking up. He's been waking up about 30 minutes into a nap, and so I can rush in there and prop him up and get him upright so that he can breathe and everything. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, he was throwing up as soon as he would wake up coughing. And then, you know, there was a decent chance that he'd lay down and go back to sleep, but not always. And he's been back in our bed with us, just with everything, the cough and the teething and whatnot. I was just having to get up and down too much, and he sleeps better with us, with being sick. So that was kind of a bummer, because it feels like we've taken a step backwards, because we were just getting to the place where he was like sleeping in his crib. He'd get up maybe once in the night to nurse, and it was great. He was falling asleep without having to nurse to sleep. It was all good, and then this cough hit, and I feel like we've taken like 3 steps backwards, which it'll be fine. We'll get there. It's just, the problem that I've run into is that any sort of crying or anything immediately will set off a coughing fit, and then if he's just nursed a bunch and then he starts crying and then he coughs and he throws up all that he's nursed, and it's been a thing. Because the other thing too is he is on the mend now. Like, he is, I do think he is getting better. His coughing fits are less intense, and he's not throwing up like every single time. It's just, he's slowly getting better. It's just taking a while. But yeah, because last week his appetite was really down because he just kept throwing up all the time. I felt so bad for him, because at least with my 3-year-old we can kind of explain things to him and be like, yeah, you have a cough, I'm sorry, take some medicine, help out with that. But then the 1-year-old is just, it's a whole other ball game. He would fight taking any of the medicine, and so I think that's why his more intense phase has lasted a bit longer than my toddler, because I was giving my toddler, or my 3-year-old, all kinds of medicine and stuff, but then the 1-year-old just would not take it. So I've been very grateful that I'm still nursing him. He's about 19 months now, and I weaned my 3-year-old when he was about 18 months, but by that point I was already pregnant with baby number 2, and so my milk supply just left, and so that was why I weaned him at that point. And I've been very, very grateful that I'm still nursing my 1-year-old, just because with all of this, with his appetite being down, I know that he gets so much benefit from nursing, that it has just been really helpful. But it has just been intense because he was kind of dwindling. I think he was working his way towards weaning, but then he kind of picked it back up with being sick. I think it's a comfort thing, and it's a food thing, you know, obviously. So yeah, it's just been exhausting. His naps have been so disrupted, and their nap schedules and quiet time schedules are a little bit wonky right now, just as they're in this adjustment phase, because my 1-year-old has dropped down to 1 nap, and so he's going down a bit earlier, and so then there's a period of time where the 1-year-old's down, but the 3-year-old hasn't gone down to quiet time yet, and then I'll get the 3-year-old to quiet time, and then lo and behold, the 1-year-old will wake up within 15-20 minutes and having a coughing fit. If he was over his cough, it would be fine. It's just, yeah. I just basically have to drop everything and race down the hallway and get him upright to make sure that he's breathing and he doesn't like choke and throw up and stuff. So, oh, it has been exhausting on a whole other level. Yeah, I'm a bit fried, to be honest. It's been really hard. Today, he only napped for 30 minutes before he woke up with a coughing fit, and I couldn't get him back down. And so it's just been very nonstop. And it is interesting how there's seasons like that. Like, it'll happen. There'll be seasons where it's so smooth and calm and chill and wonderful, and then there's seasons like this where it's just really intense and really hard, and yeah, it's hard. I don't think there's any other way to put it. I'm very grateful that they both seem to be on the mend, and hopefully this cough will sort itself out. But yeah, it has made doing much knitting fairly challenging. Doing much of anything, it's just hard because I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. And as a very strong introvert, I do find that when I don't get those little breaks in the day, and even in the evenings before I go to bed, and I'm not getting breaks overnight because the baby's waking me up many, many times in the night. And in the evenings, I just have to be on high alert because any second now I'm going to have to jump up and run down there and help the baby. So it is challenging. I find one of the biggest challenges I have found with being a mother is that as a introvert, I need that downtime. I need that quiet time, that rest time to just not have to worry about anybody else and to just get my brain in a better place. And that's been distinctly lacking for the last few weeks, but it's all good. My husband's been great on the weekends when he's home, like this last weekend, or maybe it was the weekend before. I don't remember. I've lost like all sense of time because it's just been a blur. He took him and watched him for a couple of hours one day, and I was able to do a bunch of sewing, and it was so nice. We've had some really beautiful weather, so I've been able to get them outside, which is where they are right now. I didn't think I was going to be able to film today, but it's actually nice enough outside that they can go play. We had a really, really cold snap the last couple of days, and so that's been an additional challenge. They haven't been able to get outside and go and get some energy off. Yeah, it's a lot. It's it's just all part of parenthood and motherhood and all the things. But yeah, we've had a lot of really lovely things happening too. I have my daffodils right here. I finally grew some daffodils this year. I planted the bulbs last fall and they started coming up, and it has been such a joy. They're right outside this window here. And so I kept being able to tell my 3-year-old, like, oh, look, the baby flowers are growing. Like, they're going to grow and turn into flowers. And I trimmed some off just before the storm hit on the weekend. And, oh, they're just so lovely. And it makes me so, so happy to have finally grown daffodils. They were one of my favorite flowers growing up. Snack break for the kids. But yeah, so there's daffodils. Like I said, I've been able to do some sewing, which I'm so happy about. This dress is just so lovely, and I'm delighted to have it done. This is my first day wearing it since it was done. Maybe I can stand up here and show you. It's just a really simple jersey knit dress. It's got the snaps at the front. It's just kind of a mashup of patterns, honestly. I'm kind of at that spot with my knitting or my sewing where I just kind of shove a few different patterns together and make it work. And then I've got, let me see. This is a beautiful, beautiful fabric that was gifted to me by a lovely crafty friend, Sarah, and I finally cut it out. It's a really lovely lightweight fabric, and I'm making a just a simple like spring summer dress. I'm really excited about that. And then I've got this one, which was one that I bought a few years ago from Joanne, and it's got these lovely strawberries all over it. And that one I'm making like a smocked waist dress like I've worn a few times in my different videos. And then I've got another like stretchy fabric dress, basically identical to this one with a slightly different skirt, that I'm actually super happy about because I cut out my oldest fabric. Technically, I have a couple pieces of fabric that my mom gave me that are from when I was growing up, and I've been saving those in case we end up ever having a daughter, because they're like really cute, like pinky color ones. But it's like the oldest fabric that I have that I bought. How about we put it that way? So that's really lovely. And I'm just so excited to be using that specific piece of fabric because it's just been sitting there for so long and I couldn't decide what to make with it. So that's been really, really nice. I was able to do a bunch of sewing one of the days where, I don't know, there's something about if I don't sit down, the boys would leave me alone. But if I sit down to try and do some knitting, they're really like climb all over me and jump on me and want to sit on my lap and stuff, which is all good things, but sometimes the introvert in me is like, would you please just go away? So it was great. I was able to just kind of stand up here, and they would kind of come and like check in on me and be like, hey, and then they go back and play again, pounding on the door. I'll be back. The other thing that I've been thoroughly enjoying recently is I just today finished a reread of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and I've been watching through the 1995 BBC production of Jane Austen, or of Pride and Prejudice, and that has been so much fun. It has been a really long time since I've reread the book. This is one of my character flaws, if you will. If something is overly popular and overly hyped and everybody talks about it, I usually find that I'm very, very hesitant to have anything to do with it. I'm usually like, that's not for me. If everybody likes it, obviously I'm not gonna like it. And sometimes I get really frustrated about Pride and Prejudice because it seems to be the only Jane Austen book that anybody talks about in like, what's the word? I was going to say like mainstream social media type stuff, but I don't think that's quite the right word, but I think you know what I mean. It is the most well-known of the Jane Austen books, and I think that it kind of does a little bit of a disservice to the rest of the books because I think Pride and Prejudice is amazing, and I really love it, and I've really enjoyed watching the BBC version of it. I've seen that one many times. I've read the book a number of times. It's good. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I just think that it is exaggerated how much better it is than the rest of the Austen novels. Persuasion's my favorite, in case you were curious, and I absolutely love Sense and Sensibility. And I think Mansfield Park is like the most underrated one ever. And I'm not particularly fond of Northanger Abbey. Don't hate me. It's just, I personally think that Northanger Abbey is the weakest of her main, I think it's 6 novels. I do like Emma. Emma is quite good. I love the Gwyneth Paltrow adaptation of that one. That one is the most, matches my mental image of Emma and the book. Yeah, so I've been really, really enjoying that. I just finished rereading it today, and it was so nice, so familiar, so cozy, so lovely. I've been rereading some of the Patricia Wentworth books in the Miss Silver series. One of my all-time favorite series. I can't tell you how many times I've reread those books. It's just delightful. They're all about this retired governess turned private sleuth, and she is constantly knitting, and it's really fun to read about. She knits continental, and there's been a few times in the books where it like mentions a little bit of like what she's knitting, and I'm like, I wonder if I could figure out how to make that. I think it would be so fun. Like if they were modern day books, they probably would have knitting patterns in the back, which would be super fun. But she talks about knitting like twin sets for her niece and knitting all these baby things, baby shoes and baby cardigans and baby shawls, and it's just so fun. My goodness, so many interruptions. But yes, so I've really been enjoying rereading some cozy favorites, and my husband and I have just started watching a new anime together. We're only about 3 episodes in, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch that. So I'll report back on it later on whether or not we do like it, but so far we're thoroughly enjoying it. And it's really nice because my husband and I do tend to struggle sometimes to find things to watch together as far as like movies or shows, just because we have such different tastes. I really like the cozy, calm things, and he likes a bit more intense and I was going to say drama, but that's not quite the right word. He just likes to have there to be more involved, things going on and stuff, action. And I'm a little bit more like, slice of life, cozy, calm, wholesome, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so we're doing well overall. Tired, very, very tired, but looking forward to a lot of stuff. Easter's coming up. I'm hoping to get my garden started for this year. I've got to order some dirt, and we've been doing some different house projects. We've needed to replace our mailbox post for super long, pretty much since we moved into the house. And my husband finally did that this last weekend. He was like cleaning out his shed. He was doing all kinds of projects. It was good for him. So we've been able to do a good amount, and we've been loving the spring weather. We've been enjoying so much time outside, which has been amazing. The boys are just being cute outside. But yeah, so there's been a lot of good. It can be easy to feel overwhelmed and like everything's going wrong, and we're just exhausted and tired, and I'm cranky and irritable with the boys, and then I get frustrated because I'm being irritable, but I'm also just so exhausted. Yeah, it's again, it's life. It's just a mixed bag of all the beautiful, lovely things and all the hard, rough things. But yeah, it's been good, and I am hopeful that both kids will be on the mend and we'll be able to get back to some semblance of a normal schedule, Lord willing. But yeah, so if I have been somewhat absent here on YouTube, if I know I haven't responded to comments, I haven't commented on people's videos. There's been a lot of knitting videos that I've thoroughly enjoyed and have been bringing me a lot of joy the last few weeks, just because even though I can't do much knitting, I can still watch knitting content. That's been really lovely, but I haven't been able to sit and like comment on people's videos or answer emails or do anything like that. It's just been a bit much. Next week I have a haircut scheduled. I'm very excited about it. It's been over a year since I've had a haircut, and my hair is getting long. It's not that long for some people, but it's getting long, and I have just realized it's driving me absolutely insane. I can't stand it. I like it when it's shorter, so I'm trying to sort through and figure out. There's a new hairdresser, so we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to find somebody local. The previous lady that's cut my hair, she lives a ways away, and so it's a bit of a trek to try and do any sort of an appointment. So yeah, I'm trying to find somebody that's local in our town and trying out some recommended hair salons. I'm very excited to get my hair trimmed, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully I'm happy with it after it gets cut, but it's just been driving me insane. I'm just used to having shorter hair, and it's a whole thing. But I think I have rambled on plenty long enough with life update stuff. So if you're still here, thank you. Thank you for listening to my chitter chatter. I hope that you are all doing well, that you're getting some knitting done, that you're enjoying some cozy spring weather, and all the delightful crafting things. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.